Hello guys, welcome back to the Crew Waldron Driving All Cars part number 41. The Ferrari 458, which is an exclusive car next to the McLaren 12C, and both of them come if you buy the season pass. Or if you buy a complete edition or an ultimate edition, then usually the season pass is included, and then you can get your hands on this car. Some of the other DLC packs doesn't matter that much. It's only sort of a preferences. If you want certain cars, you can get those DLC packs. This one is a little bit differently. If you don't have the season pass, you kinda miss out. This car comes with 3 specs: performance, circuit and drift. In performance it is, well, I don't know. If it's not top 5, then it definitely will be top 10. In circuit it is, yeah. Overall, probably the OP car. There are a few cars in circuit spec, in slipstream situations and things like that, that have a bit higher top speed. But if corners and twisty tracks in general come into play, then you are looking at the best circuit spec in this game. But this is the full stock that I'm driving here, so there's not much you can do with full stocks in this game, other than drive around. So, switching to the performance spec to begin with, and do the acceleration tests. And that is probably why it is top 5 and not OP. The acceleration for this car. For this one specifically, that is. I'm not talking about the circuit spec, we will see that later, but the performance spec, 1 mile drag race with this has official colors and official rims. So the golden rims here, they are official or original, whatever you want to call that. 1 mile drag race, hit the nitro at the first checkpoint, which is the quarter mile. I also have a second checkpoint at the half mile, and then the finish at exactly 1 mile. It has 7 gears in full stock, so it has 7 gears in every spec of the game, which means a shorter gear ratio, always helpful for acceleration. Pretty strong nitro. Performance spec we are doing, and we are going over 340 kilometers on the finish probably. Yep, 345 something. But somehow it is not that fast. Well, it's definitely not slow. Let's get that straight to begin with. But the Aston Martin Vanquish is still the fastest here with 22.8. 23.4 is above average for sure. It's amongst the better accelerating cars in performance. But the fact is, we have tested meanwhile, I don't know, about 30-35 in performance already, and we have a bunch of 23 and 24 second cars in performance, so it's above average, seeing it's in the 23 region, but there are a couple of 22 second cars as well. For circuit we are dealing with 22 and 23 second cars, and give or take 1 or 2 really slow 24 second cars. That's what we are looking at here. Let's take a look what this one can do. Same 1 mile drag, hitting the nitro at the quarter mile, full bar, and go for it. 21.9. It's the first car that does the 21, although it's a pretty high one, 21.9, but nevertheless it is a 21 second. And that's the first one that goes under the 22 seconds. So probably for the better cars in the game, acceleration is quite an important factor. The reason I say that is in street spec, the Skyline, which is considered the best, or at least one of the best, kinda smoked the other street spec, with the first car going under 20 seconds in street with 25.7 or something. It's sort of the same here. We have 22. I had a 22.0 for the BMW bike, which is a pretty fast one, acceleration wise, and this one just goes under it. Although with a 10, but cars. What was the fastest car so far? The Silverado with a 22.3. That's already 4/10 of a second that car loses. So it's more, of course, for the other ones. Quick response, handling is yeah, the main feature of this car, I guess. Although it's sort of good, or at least way more than okay, on all aspects that matter. The brakes, I had to go back up the brakes there, because otherwise we would come to a standstill. The brakes are great, simple as that. The brakes are great, the handling, as you will see, is great. The top speed is more than good. It just loses out to, well, a couple of cars on top speed wise, but it makes it up for with the acceleration, with the brakes, or with the handling in general. Some of those faster cars handle less good, or they have worse brakes and they lose it out somewhere. So the only point where you're going to lose are places like ovals, speed traps. If you do that with a crew with slipstream, then you might lose. But other than that, twisty tracks, PvP races, you're looking at one of the better specs in performance. That is top 5, top 6 something, I think. There are quite a few better in, well, quite, let's say there are 4 or 5 better in performance. So in performance it's not the OP car, in circuit it is though. Handling good, brakes good, acceleration more than decent, although it is performance spec above average. Top speed, performance hit on the downhill section around 400 here. This one, what does it says? 403, goes over 400, so amongst the best as well here for the performance. So, top speed, acceleration, handling, brakes is a plus. What is the minus? Well, a little understeer sometimes in this performance spec, and it might surprise you, but pretty easy to correct. I didn't spin out, I didn't crash into something. Little bump there which kinda made the rear of the car break out. But even that can be easily corrected with this Ferrari 458. It just lacks a bit of acceleration against a Huayra or a LaFerrari, which are the better performance specs. But we're only talking about 4 or 5 cars which are probably better in performance than this one. And if those cars are in the hands of some, let's say, medium or mediocre skilled drivers, then you have a shot with this one to even win. Then we are moving to this one. And what I was telling you earlier, that was probably more for this one than for the performance spec, but yeah. Ovals, slipstream situations, like speed trap with a crew, you might lose here or there against cars like a Gallardo or a Saleen or of some of the bikes. But that's only about top speed. From the moment corners come into play, brakes starting to matter and so on, then you are looking at the best circuit spec in this game for sure. So overall it is probably the OP car in circuit. It has good brakes, it has decent handling, you can throw it through corners, it has the acceleration, fastest we tested so far in circuit spec, so not a problem there. And it also has the top speed. So what is the problem with that top speed? For speed traps and something, in a slipstream, I'm not mistaken, but then I think it can do something like 447, 448 kilometers an hour. Maybe a 451 on a downhill section with slipstream, something like that. The Gallardo can do 455, the Saleen can do 457, the Kawasaki bike can do 460. But those are top speed, long straight situations. Over here we have corners. If you come here with the Gallardo, which is also pretty good, but you were gonna slide about a bit more. It's way more oversteers. The Saleen, yeah, that's a matter of preferences, I guess, but I do not like that car at all. It has a speed, but it's way trickier to handle than this one. Some also use 4GT sometimes in PvP. That's all a matter of opinion, but if things matter, if a couple of Platinum 1, Platinum 2 drivers or skilled drivers in general come together in one lobby, circuit spec is selected, at least half the field will choose the Ferrari 458 before the start. That's just how it goes. So if you want to have a, well, more than any other DLC pack, the season pass kinda matters. Also the 12C McLaren is a pretty good and decent car, so but for circuit spec you definitely kinda need this one. Not that you're not gonna win with other cars, but skilled drivers, this car, you're gonna have a problem to win. Overall on twisty tracks and stuff like that. On ovals it might be a different story, then you have a shot with the other cars with a higher top speed as well. But yeah, overall probably the best in circuit. It comes full stock with 7 gears, which also means that it has 7 gears in performance and in circuit. But it also means that it comes with 7 gears in a drift. And yeah, I've tested already one of the 7 gears cars in drift, being the Corvette Stingray, and that is a bit of a problem, I personally find. I've mentioned this before. Drift specs can be used, all of them. Monster specs can be used, all of them. But you have some preferences and you kinda like one car more than another. And I kinda have a problem with the 7 gear cars. I am switching to drift settings here. Manual gearbox, and that's where the main problem is with the 7 gear cars in drift. If you do it with a 6 gear car drift, you test it out and you eventually end up, some of the cars you go around in 2nd gear, in other cars you go around in 3rd gear, you keep it there and done. With the 7 gear cars you, yeah, well, you're constantly thinking what gear do I need here, and you are messing about. You are going to go 3rd, 4th, going back to 3rd, some of the sharper corners maybe even back to 2nd. In 3rd you will be often on the limiter too long, so that you kinda makes it block a bit, and the result of that is that you are going to lose the multiplier, and for drift trials that kinda matters. So you have to keep that thing going, preferably to times 99. That's where you can score a few 100,000 points. If you lose it once, then the score will go down. Let's say you lose it once and you get it times 40 and times 50 or something on the 3-minute run, and then the scores are added, and then you come up at 100, 120,000, something like that. So to get 2, 3, 400,000 or more, you need the multiplier at 99. The multiplier is kinda important in drift, and that's a bit of a problem with 7 gear car, to get it there. You're dealing with a track, you're dealing with the drift itself, trying to keep it into a drift and stuff like that. And normally you don't have to worry at all about the gears. I am in 4th gear now, and yeah, you already see it, it is a bit of a problem. Not enough power, and so you're thinking, yeah, okay, I need to go back down to 3rd. This is a more downhill section, no, not a problem here in 4th gear. constantly doing 6,000-7,000 RPM while then you go back to third gear for corners, and you're constantly on the limiter, which makes the car straighten up sometimes, and yeah, there we go already, lost the multiplier for the first time. So we go back to fourth gear thinking that might be the good one, and then yeah, kinda lacking power. It kinda gets stuck around 7,000 RPM and it's not going anywhere, which is a bit of a problem for the drift. So far so good. And here we lost it again, because I had to go down to third gear there, and I'm used to putting a car in a certain gear and keep it like that and throw it around the drift and get the multiplier at 99. Size wise it's not an issue, you can flick this car around without any issues. It's also not that heavy, so not a problem there. Problem is the gears. Just like with the Stingray, which is a 7 gear car, and the McLaren 12C, we will probably see the same story with the drift car. Yeah, here I'm just too high gear on the uphill and I lost the multiplier again. I'm basically messing about here and eventually come up with a score of 30,000 or something, because I lost the multiplier 4 or 5 times I think. Main reason, the gears. I kinda wanted to get for the 4th gear all the way, but that didn't seem to be the best, so I went down to 3rd gear a bit. And on 3rd gear you're constantly on the limiter, which is not a problem with some of the cars, but it is with the 7 gear cars. They kinda block, and then they, I don't know, it's like they suddenly brake or something and they straighten up the car, and that's not good for drift, because then you lose the multiplier. So no, forget about the drift spec, at least that's my opinion. Performance spec, top 5, top 6 for sure. Circuit spec, overall on twisty tracks, OP, the best there is in the game. That's what I think of it. I worked my way up to Platinum 1 driver, and yeah, basically I've done all the circuit races when it matters with this one. Only on ovals or something I might switch to something else. If not, if you see me PvP circuit is selected, you probably see me take this one. So that was it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one, and bye for now.